That's what we're getting into over the next couple of days. Here's kind of the start of the hot pattern and drier pattern we're getting ourselves into. There's only a few thunderstorms out there, and the storms that were a little more prolific over the last couple of hours have lost their lightning as well. So this is going to be the theme again as the drier air spills in. Oak Hill, good evening. We're pinpointing that downpour for you. Watching a thunderstorm just try to get going here to the west of New Smyrna Beach. These are going to have the tendency to work their way back inland as well. Claremont, Mineola, Montverde, hope you're doing well tonight. We're watching a couple of thunderstorms just sneak out of Polk County into Southern Lake and Sumter counties. Again, already losing its punch. You see the lightning, a few more strikes there, and then there's only a couple. So again, these are not being able to sustain themselves this evening. For the rest of tonight, going to watch for a flare up of thunderstorms again from about west of I-4 to about I-75 tonight. Very similar to what we saw last evening. That's where the sea breeze comes together to give there a little more push in the atmosphere. 6, 7 o'clock tomorrow, we're watching a few passing clouds. It will be a nice start. And then once the sun comes up, the heat is going to get you for the afternoon. Now, here's what we're talking about the relatively dry weekend. 4 or 5 o'clock, just like what we're seeing out there right now, there will be a stray thunderstorm popping up with the heating of the day. They will not be long-lived, and they will not be widespread. So most of us are going to be dry tomorrow. There's 10 o'clock at night, and we're watching things on the drier side again. Rain chances over the weekend. Again, likely the hottest weekend of the year, beating last weekend, which was just the hottest weekend of the year. 20% shot for more thunderstorms on Sunday. Most of us are dry both days into the upper 90s. Sunday a touch hotter with the heat index, and Monday the hottest of the bunch coming your way. For that, here's a look at your forecast.
Your forecast is sponsored by Renewal by Andersen.
So we're back to the mid to upper 90s again this weekend. Rain chances holding at 20%. Again, a lot of sunshine. Great beach day. We're going to be dry at the beaches for sure. Again, everything it tries to form, and it's relative. There's hardly going to be anything out there. We'll be west of 95. It's going to be very hot, though. That heat index, 105 to 110. Again, that number is important because that's dealing with the amount of moisture in the atmosphere. Your body sweats, and it cools itself that way with the environment evaporating your sweat. Kind of gross, but that's what happens. But nonetheless, when there's more moisture in the atmosphere, it's harder for that to happen, and that's where we see those heat-related illnesses. So that heat index is an important number. It's all because of this big chunk of high pressure sliding down the southeast corner of the United States. It pretty much parks itself there, really starting tonight and over the next couple of days, and that helps the heat just surge as we move into the next few days. Pair of 97s tomorrow and Sunday, 98 degrees on Monday. Rain chances still painfully low, at least, even though we have the heat starting on Tuesday and Wednesday. Those rain chances do go up to help cool us off a little bit, Ginger, by Tuesday.
There's that glass half full. All right, thank you, Jonathan. Well, after more than 100 days in space, some astronauts appear to be ready to return to Earth.
When I get back home, I'm kind of looking forward to doing nothing for a couple of days.
How they're getting ready to splash down next. And a live look now at Mount Dora. You're watching News 6. We'll be right back.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Light Orlando, delivering hope together.
A group of astronauts is getting ready to come back to Earth early next month. Crew 10 launched from the Space Coast back in March. On the ISS, the crew took part in experiments. This includes existing hardware for pharmaceutical production in space and how cells sense gravity. Earlier today, Crew 10 gave an update on their upcoming return.
We feel very safe. I think if what our responsibility is as crew is to understand all of the potential, the potential outcomes of what could happen from the nominal to the worst case, and to be prepared to react to all of those.
Crew 11 is set to launch to the International Space Station this coming Thursday. That launch is set for no earlier than 12:09 p.m. from the Space Coast. Once they make it, Crew 10 will leave and splash down somewhere off the coast of California. Meanwhile, we are just 24 hours away from the next launch from the Space Coast. SpaceX will be sending another batch of Starlink internet satellites. The liftoff window opens at 4:28 a.m. As lawmakers call on the president to release the Jeffrey Epstein files, an accomplice of Epstein is meeting with a top Department of Justice official for the second day in a row now. Plus, we're getting a first look at a new bus that will get people off the street overnight and give them a safe place to sleep. A live look now at Port Canaveral. You're watching News 6. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We're following several top stories right now. Investigators in Lake County say someone likely used an excavator to destroy a home and an SUV. There was also a spray-painted message. It happened at a home at the corner of Pine Island and Monte Vista Roads in Claremont. We asked what criminal charges could come of this. We're told it's criminal mischief, which can be a felony in Florida if there's enough damage. 2 of the new electric buses at Epic Universe have gone up in flames. No one was hurt. Universal introduced the all-new electric fleet of buses this spring. They will shuttle parkgoers from Epic Universe to Universal Studios. The buses run on lithium batteries. Orange County Fire is investigating the cause. Today, a man accused of killing his grandparents faced a judge. Investigators say 22-year-old Jeremiah Campbell shot his grandmother at the couple's home first and then shot the grandfather when he went to a neighbor's for help. It happened Wednesday night on Washington Street near Milwaukee Avenue in Brevard County. Campbell is charged with 2 counts of second-degree murder and 1 count of attempted second-degree murder. He's being held on no bond at the Brevard County Jail. The 2 men convicted in the infamous Deltona Xbox murders are back in court today trying to convince a judge to spare their lives. A jury recommended the death penalty for them back in May. News 6's Volusia County community correspondent Molly Reed has been following this trial. She was in court again today for the hearing.
This was Troy Victorino and Jerron Hunter's last chance to try and persuade this judge to keep them off death row. Now, we heard from both of them today, and for the first time, Victorino accepted responsibility for what happened back in 2004.
Back in August of 2004, I was part of something that destroyed a lot of lives. And for that, I'm truly sorry.
21 years after the murders, both men are still waiting for their official sentence. Jerron Hunter present in the courtroom, Troy Victorino appearing by Zoom today. Both men giving the judge their last pleas to save their lives. Victorino's attorney reading a letter for him.
I've spent the last 32 to 33 years of my life never accepting responsibility for my actions and behavior. I lied because I was scared to lose my family.
Hunter's defense team arguing again today that he was intimidated by Victorino into helping with the murders. Victorino's team argues his rough upbringing and a history of mental health issues led him to the murders.
Finding my faith fundamentally has changed who I am as a man and human being. Because of this, I am deeply saddened and sorry for the tragic, unnecessary loss of human lives. This crime was horrible and could not ever be justified.
The 2 men are convicted of breaking into a Deltona home and beating 6 people to death with baseball bats and stabbing them in a Deltona home in 2004. Investigators say Victorino was squatting in one of the victims' houses, got kicked out, but left some items behind he was mad he had not gotten back, including an Xbox.
These words can't really give meaning to how sorry I am for my role in those unnecessary killings.
They were originally sentenced to death back in 2006, but had to be resentenced this year due to state law changes over the death penalty.
No matter the reason, there's no excuse for what happened. I'm extremely sorry to the families, friends, and the community as a whole.
The judge did not make an official decision today. There will be a sentencing hearing at a later date. That date has not been set just yet, but should be within the next 2 months. I'm your Volusia County community correspondent Molly Reed, News 6.
A man accused of being involved in a drive-by shooting is behind bars. The shooting happened last month near Cocoa Meat and Produce at South Burnett Road and Catalina Drive in Cocoa. The Brevard County Sheriff's Office says the 5 suspects in a silver Kia fired shot at a white Jag near the business. 1 man and 4 kids nearby had to be taken to the hospital. 21-year-old Terrence Bell is currently being held in the Brevard County Jail on a bond of $150,000. He's facing multiple charges, including 2 counts of aggravated assault. The Deputy Attorney General concluded his second interview today with Jeffrey Epstein's accomplice. They met inside a Tallahassee courthouse. It's all in response to the public's call for transparency in the Epstein case. Correspondent Maribel Gonzalez has the details.
Ghislaine Maxwell's attorney David Oscar Marcus spoke outside a Tallahassee courthouse on Friday after Deputy Attorney General Todd Belange questioned her for a second day.
The truth will come out about what happened with Mr. Epstein, and she's the person who's answering those questions.
Maxwell was sentenced in 2022 to 20 years in federal prison for carrying out a years-long scheme with accused sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein to groom and sexually abuse underage girls. She has continued to appeal her conviction. Now, officials want to find out if Epstein's former associate and ex-girlfriend has information about anyone else who has committed crimes against the victims, according to Maxwell's attorney.
We want full transparency. We want everybody who was involved in any way with the Epstein evils, let's call it what it was, to be brought to justice.
The Trump administration is facing public backlash over a perceived lack of transparency. And as sources say, Attorney General Pam Bondi told President Trump his name appears in the so-called Epstein files. Above the courthouse, a banner being towed by a plane read, "Trump and Bondi are protecting predators." On Thursday, Senator Chuck Schumer called for an all-Senate briefing on the Epstein files.
General Bondi lied to the American people. She told us we'd see the report. She told us it's on her desk. Then we're told there's no report. So you can understand the deep skepticism Americans have.
When asked if the president would consider a pardon for Maxwell,
it's something I haven't thought about. It's really something. I'm allowed to do it, but it's something I have not thought about.
I'm Maribel Gonzalez reporting.
A live look now at the White House. The president is now weighing in on the struggle to solve the growing problem of homelessness. He signed an executive order about it last night, but it could lead to more financial strain for cities nationwide, including Orlando. News 6's Stephanie Rodriguez explains.
The order directs Attorney General Pam Bondi to reverse rules that limit municipalities' abilities to relocate homeless people. It also redirects federal resources so affected homeless people are transferred to facilities for rehabilitation and substance abuse. The order comes just a month after the Supreme Court ruled in favor of an Oregon city that ticketed homeless people for sleeping outside. We do have a similar law right here in Florida about public camping that went into effect on January 1st.
I mean, what are they supposed to do? We're arresting a bunch of people who don't have a home. We're releasing them back onto the street, still with no home. And we're criminalizing the fact that they don't have a home to go to. And so what are we doing? Like, we're just going to keep this cycle up?
Earlier this month, News 6 did an investigation into the cost of that law in Orlando. We found that since January, 74 arrests have been made for public camping. And though their stays in jail varied, each day that they were in custody cost taxpayers $144. A report from the Mayor's Jail Oversight Committee found that treating inmates in the jail who are homeless and have a severe persistent mental illness is costing Orange County over $4.5 million. In the studio, Stephanie Rodriguez, News 6.
Meanwhile, a solution to house the homeless could be coming to your area. Only News 6 was there when the first of at least several buses arrived to Brevard County. Each bus will offer 20 beds to get people off the streets for the night. News 6's Troy Campbell got a tour.
So right now we're on board the bus that will sleep up to 20 people each night. If you take a look, you can see each bunk has its own charging port and air conditioning vent, all to get a restful night's sleep off the streets. What was your thoughts when you saw this in person for the first time?
Well, this has been being built down the street, so I pass that area probably daily, and I've made it a point not to go look.
After months of planning, Matthews Hope founder Scott Ballou says he's thrilled to see the bus for the first time.
They saw inside already. I haven't. I got to look inside.
I'm excited, man.
Oh my God. It's what we pictured. It's what we drew.
Ballou says the bus will allow for 3-night reservations. The bus will pick people up and then drop them off at the same location in the morning. What are you hoping are some of the positive impacts of this?
Well, first off, I'm hoping that we can bring attention to the crisis at hand, because I don't think people understand the full crisis that's taking place.
Ballou says the first bus costs about $200,000, with 2 more to follow in Brevard County.
Not here is not an answer, okay? And I'm tired of everybody saying not here, because that doesn't solve anything. This is not going to solve homelessness, but what it is going to do is give a stepstone to these people being able to go back to work, get a night's sleep on occasion.
Matthews Hope says it's currently helping about 2,000 people with services in Brevard. Why is it so important that we are compassionate towards homeless?
You'd be surprised how soon you can be there yourself. Some people's attitude is, well, they made their bed, let them sleep in it. These people did nothing to make that bed. They had a spouse die. They had a child pass away.
Matthews Hope says they plan to do some more work on this bus, but they do hope to have it operational by September, with 2 other buses following. In Cocoa, I'm your community correspondent, Troy Campbell, News 6.
Officials in Melbourne tell us they have found a temporary solution after the roof collapsed at a local community center on Tuesday. The center closed and everyone inside was evacuated. Police are still investigating the cause, but News 6 meteorologists say there was heavy rain in the area around the time of the collapse. Temporary services are available for seniors at 2 nearby spots: the Captain's House in Palm Bay and the Sunflower House in West Melbourne's Merritt Square Mall. A new location at Eddie Lee Taylor Community Center will open Monday, August 11th. Officials are working to help those who can't travel to get their meals.
Too much stuff goes on here that helps the neighborhood for any tragedy like this to be happening. We need this community center. Where else can our kids go if we don't have this community center?
Again, a new location at the Eddie Lee Taylor Community Center will open Monday, August 11th, and they're hoping people who can't travel will get some help to get their meals. State wildlife officials could approve a 3-week bear hunt in December. This time it will be more structured than the one held about 10 years ago. The Florida Fish and Wildlife Commission will review the rules in the middle of next month, including a lottery system for permits and a limit of 187 bears across 4 areas of the state. The rules also encourage hunters to target male bears. Officials say the hunt is just one more way to help manage bears living close to people.
We're one of the only states that is not participating in regulated bear hunting in states that have abundant bear populations. And so it's another tool for wildlife managers to be able to slowly start to manage population growth.
Bear hunting has been a hot topic in Florida for a while now. Opponents argue that killing bears for sport doesn't really cut down on human-bear encounters. They're pushing for more non-lethal solutions like bear-proof trash cans. The weekend is almost here, and if you want some ideas on what to do, we've got you covered. Meteorologist Michelle Morgan has the weekend 6 things to do, including a prehistoric event at a local theater. That's next.
AC or find some water. There's a hint of what's coming our way this weekend. A couple of thunderstorms going to be out there this evening, and then the heat surges this weekend and into early next week. We're talking about how hot it gets, Ginger, in a few minutes.
And before we head to break, we have an all-new primetime schedule on News 6 Plus to tell you about. We're pretty excited about it, too. Matt and I have a new take on the day's news on News 6 tonight. That's at 9. And then go in-depth as we track the tropics and answer your weather questions with meteorologist Jonathan Kegas. That's at 9:30. It's really good, too. Then watch the late news an hour earlier. Again, it's all tonight on News 6 Plus. Download our streaming app for free. Search WKMG in your smart TV's app store. It's also available on Roku, Apple TV, and Fire TV.
I'm meteorologist Michelle Morgan. It is going to be a hot one this weekend across Central Florida. Now, if you're trying to beat the heat, I've got 6 cool events to check out. First up on my 6 things to do, a dino-themed movie and more at the Enzian Theater in Maitland. Jimmy Waldron, a paleontologist and the executive director of the film Why Dinosaurs, that shows on Sunday, shares more.
It's going to be a full VIP event. We're going to have a red carpet. We're going to have some raptors and some dinosaurs out here that you get a chance to meet and greet with. We're going to have real fossils on display. So you're going to have a miniature museum here in the lobby. You're going to get a chance to actually see and experience and touch some real dinosaur bones and meet some really cool people and bring your burning dinosaur questions because we want to answer them.
The show starts at 11 a.m. and tickets are $12.50. Repticon going on all weekend at the Central Florida Fair starting 9 a.m. Saturday and 10 a.m. on Sunday. See live animals and shop pets and products. Join the Vegan Food Festival on Saturday from 2 to 8 p.m. at Wall Street in Orlando. Enjoy top vegan eats. Wine Walk on Flagler Avenue kicks off on Saturday at 1 p.m. in New Smyrna Beach. $30 passports includes 20 tastings and keepsake glasses. Sea Turtle Education Day starts at 10 a.m. on Saturday at Sandpoint Park in Titusville. It's a free family-friendly event celebrating Florida's sea turtles. On Sunday, check out Family Fun and Wellness Day at the Wildwood Community Center starting at 3 p.m. Come have fun and embrace a healthier lifestyle. Want to share a big event that's happening this weekend? Let me know on our News 6 app or clickorlando.com. Just click Contact Us.
All right, meteorologist Jonathan Kegas joins us now. Jonathan, I'm looking for something more in the domed air condition.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would do. It's to the point where it's like really hot even to be on the sand in the beach out there if you're not getting into the water. It's going to be one of those kind of weekends. Of course, we're used to the heat in Central Florida. We talked about this last week as well. It's that little upper echelon above where just make sure you're paying close attention to yourself, especially if you're working outside tomorrow. Take lots of breaks. You guys know the drill. You can follow the heat, any storms that pop up with that free News 6 weather app. You can download that again for free by searching WKMG in the App Store. Here's our lone thunderstorm that we had earlier that we were tracking out of Polk City for you guys in Claremont and a Mascot, Montverde. This is likely going to continue to slide back off to your west. I'll turn the tracker on here for you, the loop, so you can see whether it's working off again from southeast to northwest. So this is an early heads up into Webster, Bushnell, Lake Panosofsky, and the Nobleton, that there's that cell coming at you hot from the south tonight. Again, we'll keep tabs on that for you through the rest of the evening. There's 7 to 8 o'clock tonight. We're going to fire off a few thunderstorms, mainly west of I-4. You see that flare up there closer to I-75. So it's mainly going to be west of I-4 that will keep that opportunity for a few of those scattered thunderstorms in the mix. Tomorrow, then, we're starting things off sunny. It's going to get hot really fast, and then a couple of thunderstorms trying to pop up. Storm chances tomorrow only at 20%. So I do think there will be 1 or 2 storms out there. Most of us, though, are going to go without seeing any kind of rain. Tomorrow morning, we're going to start things off into the mid-70s. Now here's a look at the afternoon.
Your forecast is sponsored by Ramjack.
Temperatures get started again in the mid to upper 70s. Straight downpour is going to be possible once we get to the afternoon. Otherwise, hot. By 11 o'clock, we're at 88. 1 o'clock, we're at 92. And again, high temperatures tomorrow, topping out into the mid to upper 90s, a degree or two away from record high temperatures. Rain chances, as mentioned, only at about 20%. Tropics, we're looking good right now. A couple waves out there succumbing to some dust and dry air. There's still that one little highlight south of Houston. It's just right on the coast. It's trying to spin, so the Hurricane Center keeping that very low percentage for tropical development there as it moves west into Texas. Again, otherwise, we are looking good. Now, there's some bubbling on social media that I want to touch on in case you're seeing it out there. Looking long range to the first week of August. This is the European ensemble. You see the highlight there towards the Caribbean. There's some model guidance. It's latching on to some development as we get towards the first week of August, likely 10 days, give or take, away. Thing I want you to take away from this, though, is that the Atlantic as a whole on a widespread scale, it is not very conducive to development. Some dry, dusty, stable air out there. It's hard for thunderstorms to maintain themselves over the Atlantic right now. But there is a little small-scale bubble of favorability, I like to call it. There's a scientific little meteorological mechanism out there that's trying to help to enhance thunderstorms in a very small region. We're going to talk much more about this coming up tonight at 9:30 on News 6 weather at 9:30. So if you want to learn more about that, we're going to break it all down at 9:30. I only have a couple minutes here, so we'll have much more to have a conversation tonight at 9:30 on News 6 Plus or on the News 6 YouTube channel. Also catch Matt and Ginger at 9. 98 degrees on Monday, 60% shot for Storm's return, though, by Tuesday.
I love all the shameless plugging we're doing right now, Jonathan, but you do have a great show at 9:30. Open your camera app, scan the QR code on your screen right now, and click the link. We want to see your weather pictures and videos. They could end up right here on TV. You can also go to clickorlando.com/pins and upload your pictures and videos that way. Some celebrities are coming to Central Florida for a tennis match coming up. We'll hear from an actor who grew up in Ocala, and now he's on the big screen.
I'm Justin Warmoth.
And I'm Lisa Bell. From tolls to taxes.
Yeah, coming up on Monday, yet another city looking to raise taxes. Why this trend could be just the beginning.
And no more coins, the major toll road that's going cashless.
Plus, after a brutally hot weekend, rain back in the forecast to start the work week. Our weather team tracking it all.
Join us for News 6 Mornings starting at 6.
The American Tennis Association is the oldest black sports organization in the country, and this weekend launches a week of events in Orlando. There will be 3 signature events, including the ATA National Championships, an awards gala, and a celebrity pro-am tournament. The celebrity tournament will be Sunday. Now, actor Da Vinci, who is known for shows like BMF, All-American, and Grownish, will be one of the guests. He spoke about his connection to the American Tennis Association.
This association, what it's doing that is so amazing that made me gravitate towards it is that they're giving opportunities to underserved communities. I wish when me growing up in an underserved community and not having a lot of resources and not having parents that, had a certain economic background, I wish I had certain opportunities to play certain sports. And this association, what it's doing is giving kids the ability to play tennis, because tennis could be a very expensive sport with the racket, the shoes, having access to a court, the balls and all the materials and all the training and all that stuff. So what this program is doing is fundraising to be able to give that opportunity to other kids. And in return, it's going to help them a lot. I think the more a kid has the ability to explore different avenues in their mindset and try different things and play multiple sports, I think it increases the chances of them going pro, and also increases their cognitive skills. Like racket sport is really healthy for the brain.
How wonderful. Da Vinci grew up in Ocala. Sunday's event starts at 9 in the morning at the USTA National Campus. That's in Orlando. We posted the details in this story. You'll find it on clickorlando.com. And for the latest theater, arts, and entertainment news, check out the Setting the Stage newsletter. Just head to clickorlando.com/newsletter to subscribe. News 6 at 5 is next. Matt Austin is in the newsroom with what's ahead.
Ginger, we're going to continue to follow two breaking stories at 5. First, a fire breaking out at Central Florida's newest theme park. And who destroyed a home with an excavator? Maybe more importantly, why? The questions investigators are trying to answer tonight.
People were very passionate about issues like immigration and the budget. For some local elected officials, hear what they had to say.
Only minutes away. Don't forget, you can stream all of our newscasts and live cameras like this look at Daytona Beach for free anytime on News 6 Plus. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.
Oh my God, someone was pissed.
Now at 5, a home and car destroyed. The only clues left behind, graffiti. The bizarre crime investigators are piecing together. Plus, firefighters respond to Central Florida's newest theme park. And later, Central Florida Little League headed to the championship tournament. The girls hoping to bring a title back to the Sunshine State. You're watching News 6 at 5. Have you ever woken up and noticed something a little different about your neighbor's house? Maybe some new landscaping, fresh coat of paint. Well, some of our neighbors in Claremont woke up to this. A home, several chunks just missing from it. Investigators say it likely took some heavy machinery, possibly an excavator, to make this happen. News 6's Catherine Silver is near that home right now. So Catherine, once you saw the destruction, you had even more questions about what happened here.
Absolutely, and we are getting some answers. In fact, within the last few minutes, I actually spoke with a man who told me he was driving right by here around 5:20 this morning, and he saw it happen. He said it wasn't an excavator like everyone thinks it was. It was actually a lull. Picture a forklift with two prongs on the front end. I'll share more from him coming up at 6. There's certainly a lot of speculation as law enforcement works to make sense of what happened here. I mean, the walls were torn right off of this home. You can see straight into the rooms. These are people's belongings that have been ripped out of this trailer. The pictures certainly tell the story.
Right on the corner of Pine Island and Monte Vista in Claremont, you can't miss it. In fact, you can see right through it. This is what's left after Lake County investigators say someone struck this trailer with heavy machinery, most likely an excavator.
Oh my God. Someone was pissed.
Quite the sight for passerbys.
Clearly, word is getting around town fast.
My phone is blowing up right now.
In fact, it was somebody driving by who called it in around 7 o'clock Friday morning.
It looks like it's been completely vandalized, like completely destroyed. Like somebody has smashed it to pieces.
Whoever did the damage ran into the front repeatedly, right into the master bedroom, what looks like a girl's room and boys' room. And they didn't stop there. The backside shows the same story.
The Ford Expedition was also sustaining damages due to heavy equipment, including a smashed-in roof and broken windows.
We asked deputies the same thing you're wondering. Who did this and why?
We do not have any information at this time. It is still currently an open investigation.
It could be the work of a vengeful vandal who left their mark and these messages behind. One scribbled on a cabinet door, another spray painted on the side of the home so everyone who drives by can see.
It's road rage with an excavator or a tractor or something because, yeah, they were upset. Yeah, you can see a lot. They were pissed when they were doing it. So.
And we learned a name and some profanity from those messages just until we get some more context from investigators. Within the last hour, we saw a group of people actually show up and they tore down the siding here. So now the message is gone. Anything else, we will be sure to update you when we see you at 6. For now, I'm live in Claremont. Catherine Silver, News 6.
Thank you, Catherine. We're going to continue following this story very closely. Be among the first to get updates about it by downloading our News 6 app. It's free in your app store. Search WKMG. We're staying on top of some more breaking news tonight as well, this time for Central Florida's theme parks. Lots of traffic in and out of the Universal lot today. Most of it from fire trucks as crews work to put out a fire at the Universal Bus Depot. Your Orlando community correspondent Mike Valenti is live with what's going on out there. Mike.
Yeah, Matt, we join you live outside Epic Universe. I'll step out of the way so you can see the lot in question behind me. It appears that they're getting ready to tow at least one of the buses, but these two buses that are involved, we're told, were electric buses running on lithium batteries. That's according to Orange County Fire Rescue. A spokesperson there tells us crews responded to reports of a fully involved bus fire. You can clearly see the flames here and smoke in this video shared with us from a viewer. Crews were able to put the fire out and fortunately no one was hurt. Now you might remember a couple months ago hearing about Universal introducing a fleet of electric buses as part of the many new elements introduced and associated with Epic Universe. It's not clear how this fire started or what caused it. We did hear from Universal in a statement. Their statement did not include any details about a potential cause. But what it did include was a statement saying they're grateful to the Orange County Fire Department for their swift response and emphasizing that Universal's top priority is safety. Of course, we'll give you any updates online at clickorlando.com if we learn the latest. We're live outside Universal. Mike Valenti, I'm your Orlando community correspondent in Orange County, News 6.
All right, Mike, thank you. And we have heat advisories in place right now, not for tonight, but for the weekend already. Meteorologist Jonathan Kegas is in tonight. Jonathan, Just how hot are we talking here?
Yeah, and we get these heat advisories, of course, when it's just that kind of notch above of what we're used to in a typical Florida summer afternoon. Of course, it's always hot. We get it for sure. But nonetheless, we're going to be feeling like that 105 to 110 range. Right now, it's hot out there already. But again, this is your typical July afternoon where we're talking about temperatures in the low to mid 90s. The feels like temperatures around 100 to 105. Melbourne, we're at 89 thanks to the sea breeze. 89 also in Orlando. 92 in Claremont. We're at 92 also in Leesburg. It's blazing hot in Wildwood. We are at 95 degrees right now, and this is just kind of the start, the transition out of the stormy pattern we were in for a few days earlier in the week to a drier and very hot one. Here's the local radar again, scanning our skies. There's just a few little guys out there right now. There's that thunderstorm I've been watching for you guys in Sumter County, closer to Wildwood and Bushnell. This is continuing to creep up, but also losing a lot of its punch. Just a lone lightning strike now, a couple of downpours to the west of I-4. Most of your evening to start the weekend is dry. We're talking how hot it gets, Matt, at about 517.
Jonathan, thank you. New at 5 now, investigators in Volusia County trying to figure out what led to a woman being taken to the hospital in critical condition. This morning, South Daytona police officers were called to the Red Carpet Inn on South Ridgewood. The caller said his fiancee, a 70-year-old woman, walked into the hotel room, collapsed in a pool of blood. She was taken to the hospital in critical condition. We're told detectives are investigating this as a battery and have identified a person of interest. Officials stress there's no danger to the public, though. Also new at 5, a Lake County couple has been indicted after police say a 10-year-old boy died from, quote, unimaginable abuse. Kimberly Mills and her boyfriend, Andre Walker, were arrested in Tavares in March after the two took Mills' son, Xavier, to the hospital. Law enforcement say the boy was covered in bruises, burn marks, and more. He later died from those injuries. Mills and Walker were indicted today on a list of charges, including murder and child abuse. A Lake County man will spend the next 15 years of his life behind bars. Brett Baldwin was sentenced to 15 years in federal prison today. A judge found him guilty of possession and receiving of child sexual abuse material in April. Baldwin was indicted in December of 23 after investigators found thousands of files of child sexual abuse material on 2 phones he owned during a separate investigation in late November of that year. That investigation was the disappearance of his wife, Nicole Baldwin. The mother of 3 was last seen by her daughter at a Mount Dora home earlier in November of 2023. She disappeared without a trace, leaving behind a bunch of personal belongings, including her phone, purse, and shoes. About a month ago, Volusia County investigators in Deltona drained a retention pond on the north side of Lake Monroe. All they would tell us at that time was it was part of a Mount Dora criminal investigation. We asked Mount Dora flat out if this had anything to do with Baldwin's disappearance. They would not say anything more than it's an ongoing investigation. Deportation flights have begun to leave Alligator Alcatraz. Governor Ron DeSantis was there today giving details about more than 100 detainees who were on those flights. And in Orange County, people who attended a roundtable led by Democratic lawmakers voiced their concerns, especially when it comes to cost. News 6's Laverne McGee has details from both sides.
So I'd rather money was not spent on incarcerating people.
Bill Blackberry discussed his concerns at this immigration and budget roundtable held by local Democrats. He's lived in Orlando since 1977 and says he does not want his taxpayer dollars spent on Alligator Alcatraz.
You either have a right to be here or you don't. If you're in this country illegally, then you should be subject to expeditious deportation.
Governor DeSantis was at Alligator Alcatraz today, stressing its importance. He said 3 flights operated by the Department of Homeland Security have already taken off, and the first one had 100 detainees on board.
There's probably close to 800,000 illegal aliens that have already been ordered deported in this country. Florida, we have at least 50,000, 75,000.
Representative Ana Escamani says there's enough money, but it's not being allocated properly.
Anytime a politician tells you we can't afford something, I think you can just point to the Everglades and say, actually we can, you're just choosing not to. Because that $500 million could go to teacher pay, universal child care, housing affordability. We obviously have the money.
The state is spending about $450 million on Alligator Alcatraz, although Governor DeSantis says Florida will be reimbursed by the federal government.
We are all going to be affected.
Laverne McGee, News 6.
Laverne, thank you. Still to come, South Florida immigration advocates are furious, speaking out against new video of a May arrest of a U.S. citizen by federal and state law enforcement. The concerns they have as this footage comes to light. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche finished his second interview today with Jeffrey Epstein's accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell. This comes as the Trump administration looks for any new information about Epstein's case amid public calls for transparency. Some of the president's supporters. Maxwell was Maxwell was sentenced in 2022 to 20 years in federal prison for helping Epstein groom and abuse underage girls over several years. She's still appealing her conviction. Her attorney says officials want to know if she has info on others who may have committed crimes against the victims.
We want full transparency. We want everybody who was involved in any way with the Epstein evils, let's call it what it was, to be brought to justice.
The Trump administration facing backlash over a perceived lack of transparency. Sources say Attorney General Pam Bondi told President Trump his name appears in the so-called Epstein files. Officials in Melbourne say they found a temporary solution after the roof collapsed at a local community center on Tuesday. We're talking about the Joseph Davis Center. Officials were forced to close it and evacuate everybody. Police are still investigating the cause. Temporary services for available seniors at 2 nearby spots are there. Now, the Captain's House in Palm Bay and the Sunflower House in West Melbourne's Merritt Square Mall are 2 locations, and a new one at Eddie Lee Taylor Community Center will open Monday, August 11th. Officials are also working to help those who can't travel to get their meals. Next at 5, hundreds of professional athletes are in some hot water. They're accused of profiting off the biggest sporting event of the year. What they did and the penalties they might be facing, that's next at 5. And speaking of hot water, the intense heat on the way to Central Florida this weekend and how some are already feeling the effects. You're watching News 6 at 5. We'll be right back.
Today's Port Canaveral Cam is sponsored by Launch Credit Union.
A major controversy in the NFL leading up to the football season here. ESPN is reporting at least 100 players from roughly half of the NFL's 32 teams are facing possible fines, maybe even suspensions, for selling their allotted tickets to this year's Super Bowl above face value. Sources say some players have already accepted fines to avoid missing games. Under the agreement between the league and Players Association, players who violated the rule will be fined 1.5 times the ticket's face value. They'll also lose their allotted tickets to the next 2 Super Bowls. If they're playing in the game, they're going to have to buy their own seats. All right, let's take a live look at Daytona Beach. Going to be a packed weekend, pretty much at every beach across Central Florida this weekend. Intense heat is on the way. It's going to be so hot on the beach. The sand gets even hotter, baking under the sun, of course. We're expecting sand temperatures approaching 130 degrees this weekend. I can't take that on my feet at the beach. Intense heat is baking much of the country. More than 100 million Americans, about a third of the population, facing extreme heat conditions. And there are not many signs of things letting up. Well, the core of the extreme heat is in the Northeast today before moving southeast next week. Summer heat already taking a toll on Central Florida this summer. In July alone, Volusia County EMS received 33 heat-related calls. That number was nearly doubled in Orange County. Osceola and Seminole counties didn't have July numbers in for us when we asked for them, but Seminole Fire did tell us in April, May, and June, there were 94 calls for heat-related incidents across the county. Osceola County said they had 31 calls in that same 3-month span. I wouldn't be surprised if this weekend led to more of those calls. You have to find a body of water or some air conditioning this weekend, and Jonathan Kegas is telling us why.
Okay, so here's the deal. I know when people hear those headlines like that, especially like 100 million people are baking under the heat. Yeah, it's summer. Yeah, it's July. We're getting into the hottest period across the country as we get ready to roll into August. But there is a mechanism forcing it to be a little bit hotter than what is typical for even the hottest peak in the time of the summer. You'll notice this little spin in the atmosphere. It's hanging right off the southeast corner of the United States. You see the orange associated with it. That is a big building ridge of high pressure at about 15 to 20,000 feet above the surface. When these things get in control like that, they cause air to sink. When air sinks, it warms up and it dries out. So this is the big high pressure cell that's helping to enhance the heat a little bit further than it would on your typical summer day across a big chunk of the country. Again, that's likely going to steal headlines not only for Central Florida, but really as they go towards the nation's heartland over the next week or so. A couple of downpours bubbling up tonight, a few rumbles of thunder associated with those as well. Few and far between tonight. I think we're going to watch an expansion though around I-75. There's 7 to 8 o'clock tonight. Very similar to what we saw last night. I'm expecting most of the action, though, right along and around I-75. You see that flare up of more thunderstorms as we get deeper towards that 8, 9 o'clock hour. And then we dry things out. There's 8, 9 o'clock tomorrow. Might feel nice before the sun comes up. And then once we get the sun, it's going to get really, really hot. There's 2 to 3 o'clock, a few of those heating of the day clouds. And there's your storm chance tomorrow. A few storms possible along into the west of I-4. Beaches are going to be nice and dry tomorrow. So it is a nice beach day. Again, you saw the sand temperature. The wet sand, or certainly being in the sand, going to help. You know the drill if you've been to the beach for sure how hot that sand gets. Beautifully blue skies, though, and that's what we're going to see along the coast really all day tomorrow. That's a live look with our Launch Credit Union camera at Port Canaveral in Brevard County. Back to 91 degrees under a mainly sunny sky tonight. At least the breeze is off the ocean. It's going to help things a little bit. 95, Wildwood, good evening. It feels more like 105 to 110 right now. Daytona Beach, we're at 89. Kissimmee, we are at 86 after we got some of that rain-cooled air at least pushing through. Now here's a look at tomorrow with temperatures getting back into the mid to upper 90s, 97 in Mount Dora, 97 in Sanford. Again, the average is 92. Low to mid 90s is where we should be. And again, we're going to be a few degrees above that. That's why the heat advisory is in play. I want to show you a few things. We talk about the major extreme heat that you often talk about or hear about anyway. You see the red here. This is the heat risk graphic for tomorrow. It's on the major side. Watch what happens on Sunday, though. Again, it's no joke what's coming our way as we move into Sunday and Monday. You know the drill. You know how to take care of yourself. Just please be mindful of that when you're out. It's one of those days, just pay attention to your body. You see the purple showing back up again, indicating that extreme heat risk there. Again, that brought to you from the National Weather Service there. Couple of tropical waves out there. Otherwise, there's nothing to worry about in the short term at all. in the Atlantic Basin. 20% shot for storms over the weekend will keep that very low rain chance rolling into Monday. The heat intensifies. 98 on Monday. 60% shot for storms return on Tuesday, Matt.
All right, thank you, Jonathan. You can open up your camera app, scan the QR code on your screen right now, and click the link. We want to see your weather pictures and videos that could end up on TV. You could also go to clickorlando.com/pins and upload your pictures that way. Still to come, the immigration enforcement issues some advocates say they're afraid may be happening more than many realize. And here's a live look at downtown Orlando from your Light Orlando Delivering Hope camera. Be prepared for a cooking weekend. You're watching News 6 at 5 on a Friday. We'll be right back. A South Florida nonprofit is furious about videos showing an arrest of a U.S. citizen by federal agents and state police in May. Advocates say it's something that's happening more frequently than you might think. Al Peffley with our CBS affiliate in West Palm digs into what the video shows.
May 2nd, the FHP and Border Patrol stopped a car on Singer Island with an 18-year-old landscaper who's a U.S. citizen and 3 of his co-workers, including his mother. And cell phone video shows what happened next.
That's not how you arrest people. Get on the ground. That's not how you arrest people. Get on the ground. Now, on the ground. All right, but you're not on the ground. All right, hold on.
As you can see, one of the people who was detained by Border Patrol and FHP was grabbed by the neck and placed in a chokehold. The Guatemalan Maya Center, a non-advocacy group that assists the migrant community in South Florida, says the incident was a nightmare for the people who went through it.
I just thought it was so atrocious, but I also wasn't surprised because it's really representative of what's going on throughout the United States right now.
As you're about to see, one of the individuals was also tased during the incident.
Hey, what you guys doing? That's not how you arrest people. If y'all gonna arrest people, y'all gotta arrest people regular. What y'all doing, bro? Hey, Kevin, No resiste. Yeah, no resiste. What am I doing? Hey, Kevin! Hey, get on the ground!
Honestly, I was appalled by the video, and I was also heartbroken, you know, to see a young man get tased like that so painfully to the point where he actually started bleeding.
Lindsay McElroy, lead immigrant justice organizer at the Guatemalan Maya Center, says 18-year-old Kenny Lainez, a Florida resident and U.S. citizen, was detained that day for 6 hours.
Kenny was treated horribly. You know, Kenny's a United States citizen who was born in West Palm Beach in St. Mary's.
At one point in the video, agents are laughing and talking about a $30,000 bonus they hope to get.
Just remember, you can spell that too with a $30,000 bonus.
Yeah.
She feels incidents like this are the tip of the iceberg.
This is happening because there's such hateful rhetoric coming from the current administration, because there's such hateful and dangerous policies that are being implemented that are really stripping people of their basic human rights.
Again, that was Al Peffley reporting. Still to come, the new concerns in Central Florida over a new order from the White House.
I could get my phone, but so I call my mom.
Definitely not. Sit down.
The harsh reality some teens are getting after a recent run-in with the police. And later, the Central Florida athletes trying to bring another World Series title back to the Sunshine State. And here's a live look from Daytona Beach. You're watching News 6. Keep it here. We'll be right back. Thank you for joining us. I'm Matt Austin. You're watching News 6 at 5. We are following several top stories for you right now. Investigators in Lake County say someone used heavy machinery to destroy a home. There was also a spray-painted message that appears to be from a woman to a man. It happened at a home at the corner of Pine Island and Monte Vista Roads in Claremont. We asked what criminal charges could come from this. We're told it's criminal mischief, which can be a felony in Florida if there's enough damage. 2 of the new electric buses went up in flames today at the Universal Bus Depot. Universal Orlando introduced the all-electric fleet of buses this spring. They shuttle park goers from Epic Universe to Universal Studios. The buses run on lithium batteries. Orange County Fire is investigating the cause. No one was hurt. A Lake County couple has been indicted on murder charges after police say a 10-year-old boy died from what they call unimaginable abuse. Kimberly Mills and her boyfriend Andre Walker were arrested in March after taking Mills' son Xavier to the hospital. Law enforcement say he was covered in bruises, burn marks, and more. He died from his injuries. In our first look here at the grandparents deputies say were killed this week by their own grandson. George and Mary White of West Melbourne were 83 and 81. The sheriff's office gave us their pictures today. They were killed Wednesday night when the sheriff says 22-year-old Jeremiah Campbell, who faced a judge today, shot his grandmother at the couple's house first and then shot his grandfather through his neighbor's front door. The grandfather had run to the neighbor's house for help. While he was there, the sheriff says Campbell also shot the neighbor's granddaughter as she tried calling 911. Brevard County community correspondent James Sparvero talked to that neighbor about the tragedy.
I got 2 bullet holes in the door. I have a 25-year-old female shot in the leg.
Terry French, a next-door neighbor, tells me that young woman was his granddaughter. Terry, how is she doing? She's home from the hospital now?
She's home from the hospital, and she's doing well, physically. Mentally, she's still upset about it. And he shot 6 times, bam, 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 bam. Bullets flying all in my house with my family in it. I hope that they put him in jail for the rest of his life.
All right, good afternoon. I'm Judge Baker. Would you be able to state your name, please, sir?
Jeremiah Campbell.
Thank you very much. There's a warrant for your arrest. I can read the charges to you if you like. First, 2 counts, second-degree murder. They're punishable by life.
He wanted his grandfather dead.
And Terry, I think the big question still remains. Why would this young man want to allegedly kill his own grandparents?
That is a question I'm asking. I have no clue of why or what reason that young fella had or what they had over there that he wanted.
I checked with the sheriff's office, but it told me investigators still don't have a motive. During his first appearance at the county jail, Judge Michelle Baker denied Campbell a bond. In West Melbourne, Brevard County, I'm your community correspondent, James Sparvero, News 6.
A drive-by shooting at a grocery store puts 1 person in jail, and police are looking for other suspects tonight. The Brevard Sheriff's Office says Terrence Bell was driving an SUV that opened fire on a car. Happened outside the Cocoa Meat and Produce store on Burnett Road last Friday. At least 3 people were shot and taken to the hospital. Everyone is expected to be okay. Bell was arrested shortly after that drive-by. 4 other people jumped out of the SUV. They haven't been tracked down yet. This is the same store, by the way, a 1-year-old was shot in front of back in May. That little baby was shot in the leg. Investigators say 3 people confronted a 17-year-old walking with the child's mother who was pushing a stroller. One of the 3 shooters was arrested in June. The teen who was with the child was arrested for weapons possession, too. The sheriff's office told us then deputies responded to incidents more than 70 times in that area in the last year. This next story is a case your Volusia County community correspondent Molly Reed has been following closely for years now. The 2 men convicted in the infamous Deltona Xbox murders are back in court today, trying to convince a judge to spare their lives. In case you're new to the area or you don't remember the case, Troy Victorino and Jerron Hunter killed 6 people in 2004. They were originally sentenced to death, but state law changes gave their defense attorneys ways to argue for life sentences instead. Now, back in May, a jury came back with another death sentence recommendation for the two killers. Molly was in court today as attorneys for the two try to fight this penalty once again.
This was Troy Victorino and Jerron Hunter's last chance to try and persuade this judge to keep them off death row. Now, we heard from both of them today, and for the first time, Victorino accepted responsibility for what happened back in 2004.
Back in August of 2004, I was part of something that destroyed a lot of lives. And for that, I'm truly sorry.
21 years after the murders, both men are still waiting for their official sentence. Jerron Hunter present in the courtroom, Troy Victorino appearing by Zoom today. Both men giving the judge their last pleas to save their lives. Victorino's attorney reading a letter for him.
I have spent the last 32 to 33 years of my life never accepting responsibility for my actions and behavior. I lied because I was scared to lose my family.
Hunter's defense team arguing again today that he was intimidated by Victorino into helping with the murders. Victorino's team argues his rough upbringing and a history of mental health issues led him to the murders.
Finding my faith fundamentally has changed who I am as a man and human being. Because of this, I am deeply saddened and sorry for the tragic, unnecessary loss of human lives. This crime was horrible and could not ever be justified.
The two men are convicted of breaking into a Deltona home and beating 6 people to death with baseball bats and stabbing them in a Deltona home in 2004. Investigators say Victorino was squatting in one of the victims' houses, got kicked out, but left some items behind he was mad he had not gotten back, including an Xbox.
These words can't really give meaning to how sorry I am for my role in those unnecessary killings.
They were originally sentenced to death back in 2006, but had to be resentenced this year due to state law changes over the death penalty.
No matter the reason, there's no excuse for what happened. I'm extremely sorry to the families, friends, and the community as a whole.
The judge did not make an official decision today. There will be a sentencing hearing at a later date. That date has not been set just yet, but should be within the next 2 months. I'm your Volusia County community correspondent Molly Reed, News 6.
Well, several teens are getting a hard lesson after being arrested and accused of trying to take off from police and deputies. News 6 anchor Justin Warmoth shows us the end of this multi-county chase.
Is that me right there? You see me?
Volusia deputies were posted up on Providence Boulevard in Deltona, waiting on 5 teenagers on the run from police. Stop sticks did their job, but 3 of the teens inside take off.
Get on the ground.
With guns drawn, one of the teens surrenders. Deputies take him into custody, but 2 others head for the woods. Deputies moving through the thick brush eventually find a second teenage suspect.
Get on the ground. Get on the ground. Don't
The 17-year-old was then cuffed and taken to a patrol car, but he did have one request for deputies.
I could get my phone, bro, so I call my mom.
Definitely not. Sit down.
Minutes later, another teen was found hiding in some bushes. He crawls out, also taken into custody.
Man, why all y'all say the same?
I heard
Can I
her out
call
here.
my mother? Can I call?
No, I heard her out here.
Y'all do dumb shit out here and then wanna.
I ain't doing nothing dumb. I was just trying to get home.
The other 2 passengers in the car, 2 teenage girls, visibly shaken by what they experienced.
Hey, relax, okay? You okay? You got nothing to do with this. There's nothing you can do about it, okay? You're just in handcuffs for now, all right? We're gonna get everything squared away. You're gonna be all right, okay?
And inside the trunk of the car,
Large amounts of marijuana in the car.
deputies found a container of weed along with a firearm. All 3 teens now facing felony charges. In Deltona, Justin Warmoth, News 6.
Well, the man accused of attempting to assassinate President Trump at his golf course last year is being allowed to represent himself at trial. During a hearing yesterday, the judge repeatedly told Ryan Ruth it's a bad idea for him to act as his own lawyer since he's facing charges that could put him away for life if convicted. Earlier in the week, the federal public defender assigned to the case asked to be removed, saying Ruth had repeatedly refused to meet with him. The judge denied their motion and appointed those attorneys as standby counsel. The trial is set to begin September 8th and last 3 to 4 weeks. Ruth has pleaded not guilty to several charges. Meanwhile, the White House is now weighing in on the struggle to solve a growing problem of homelessness. It's titled Ending Crime and Disorder on America's Streets. But as News 6's Stephanie Rodriguez explains, the executive order could lead to more financial strain for cities nationwide, including Orlando.
The order directs Attorney General Pam Bondi to reverse rules that limit municipalities' abilities to relocate homeless people. It also redirects federal resources so affected homeless people are transferred to facilities for rehabilitation and substance abuse. The order comes just a month after the Supreme Court ruled in favor of an Oregon city that ticketed homeless people for sleeping outside. We do have a similar law right here in Florida about public camping that went into effect on January 1st.
I mean, what are they supposed to do? We're arresting a bunch of people who don't have a home. We're releasing them back onto the street, still with no home. And we're criminalizing the fact that they don't have a home to go to. And so what are we doing? Like, we're just going to keep this cycle up?
Earlier this month, News 6 did an investigation into the cost of that law in Orlando. We found that since January, 74 arrests have been made for public camping, and though their stays in jail varied, each day that they were in custody cost taxpayers $144. A report from the Mayor's Jail Oversight Committee found that treating inmates in the jail who are homeless and have a severe persistent mental illness is costing Orange County over $4.5 million. In the studio, Stephanie Rodriguez, News 6.
Stephanie, thank you. Brevard County, there's a way to help people experiencing homelessness, and it is rolling into town. Only News 6 was there as the first of at least 6 buses planned for Central Florida arrived at Matthews Hope in Brevard County. Each one offers 20 beds on wheels, each with its own charging port and air conditioning vent. The bus will allow for 3-night reservations, but officials say it's a step in the right direction.
This is not going to solve homelessness, but what it is going to do is give a stepstone to these people being able to go back to work, get a night's sleep on occasion.
Officials say there's still some work to be completed on the bus, and they hope to have it up and running by September. 2 more are on the way. For the second straight year, Central Florida will be represented at the Little League World Series. Last year, it was the boys' baseball team. They're still trying to make it. This year, it's girls softball. We'll recap their magical season thus far after the break. Jonathan.
Wild stuff there. We are pinpointing a couple of thunderstorms mainly west of Orlando for the rest of the evening, and then most of us dry out and we all turn hot. We'll talk about how high the thermostat goes at about 5:47.
And later, the animal looking for a new home after being cast aside on a busy road. Once again, it is the summer of Lake Mary Little League All-Stars, but this time it's ×2. The Lake Mary All-Star softball team punches its tickets to the World Series. News 6 Sports Director Jamie Say has been following their stay at the regionals, and they did it.
Yeah, Matt, and the Lake Mary Little League softball team absolutely crushed it in Warner Robins, Georgia. Now, today, the group sent a message loud and clear that they are the best team in the Southeast. This diamond against a team from McLean, Virginia in the regional championship. And Lake Mary's Addison Bono sets the tone from the get-go. Drills one over the fence in Warner Robins, Georgia there. A 2-run home run, 2-zip Lake Mary in the first inning, and they were far from done. Acadia Graney shows power the opposite way. That ball drops and rolls. 2 more Lake Mary runs score. Graney with a 2 RBI triple. Lake Mary led 5-0 after 1 inning.
Sends that to right field, and now Holton will definitely score. They'll bring in the other runner.
And Lake Mary's just running away with it. Bianca Vandenberg with a 2 RBI single in the 6th. Here is your final out. The grounder to first base, and Lake Mary celebrates. They beat Virginia 8-1 to win the Southeast Regional for the first time ever. So get this, Lake Mary lost its first game in regionals 1-0, and then went on to outscore the rest of the field 26-2.
Oh my.
That's domination. They're going to head to the Little League Softball World Series in Greenville, North Carolina. That tournament is August 3rd through the 10th. Lake Mary is one of 12 teams that will compete, and they open up against the Northwest Regional champ on the 3rd. That champion still to be determined. Meanwhile, the Lake Mary Little League All-Stars baseball team, well, they're still playing.
Still in it.
Right? You know, and their quest to repeat as World Series champs continues. That team opens up in the regionals next week in Warner Robins, Georgia. It goes from July 31st to August 5th. If Lake Mary baseball wins the Southeast Regional, they're going to the World Series. Yeah, that's in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. So we'll see what happens. It could be the ultimate summer
That's wild.
of Lake Mary Little League.
I would say those girls have a little bit of momentum
Little
heading
bit,
into the World
little
Series.
bit. They lose
26-2?
26-2 after falling 1-0 in their opening game. I mean, their games weren't close. So we'll see what Greenville, North Carolina has to offer.
It's not how you start, it's how you finish, as
Absolutely.
they say. To give you a cliche for baseball. All right,
like
thank
it.
you so much, Jamie. Say, let's get you over to meteorologist Jonathan Kegas. He is joining us now. How are we going to finish out this day, my friend?
Pretty good. Got to start drinking the water in Lake Mary. My goodness. Good stuff there for sure. We're pinpointing a couple of thunderstorms mainly west of I-4 tonight. Hardly any lightning with these. We try to flare up some lightning strikes, and there's so much dry air in the atmosphere that these storms kind of fall back down rather quickly. West Coast sea breeze trying to get going right there. You see that couple of lightning strikes just north of Spring Hill. So we'll likely see a flare up of thunderstorms over the next hour or two from about Ocala through the villages, Bushnell, Lake Panasoffkee, and then into Nobleton, and then hanging west along I-75 like what we saw last night. Just in that area, everybody else, we're dry for the rest of tonight, and most of us are going to be dry through the weekend. There's 7 to 8 o'clock again. You see that flare up of thunderstorms right through I-75. Everybody else is golden. 6, 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. We are dry. Lots of sunshine coming our way with a few heating of the day clouds. And then this is what I'm talking about. Here's 3 to 4 o'clock. Beaches, we are dry tomorrow. It's going to be a fantastic day there. Very hot. Make sure you're taking care of yourself. But along into the west of I-4, we'll pop a few thunderstorms. Again, most of us are going to be on the drier side. The same deal on Sunday, and really the same deal on Monday as we continue to crank up the thermostat, not only for tomorrow, but it gets a little hotter by Sunday into Monday. Straight downpour or rumble of thunder tomorrow. Otherwise, it's going to be hot and steamy. 88 by 11. We'll jump into the low to mid 90s by 1. We'll top out in the mid to upper 90s for high temperatures tomorrow afternoon. For that, here's a look at your forecast.
Your forecast is sponsored by Publix.
We're in record territory tomorrow, likely missing it by a degree or two, but we're in the ballpark. 20% shot for those stray thunderstorms that I showed you, mainly along into the west of I-4. A couple of tropical waves out there, nothing developing imminently anyway. There's just one highlight from the Hurricane Center. You can barely see it. It's right by Houston or right by Galveston. It's that little entity that gave us all of the rain. They're still hanging on to it because it has a little bit of a spin and might be able to just technically become a tropical system right before it comes on shore. But again, nothing significant. This is out on social media, so we're going to talk about it. The long-range models trying to hint at some development towards the Caribbean. This is going to be in that first week of April, likely around the 2nd second or third time frame. This is the European ensembles. The colors here represent about 40% of the 51 ensemble members, hinting at some development by the Caribbean. One thing I want to make clear, the Atlantic is not very conducive for development right now as a whole on a large scale. It's dry out there, it is very dusty, and the air is very stable. It needs to be unstable for air to rise and really help thunderstorms. The one caveat is there is this little small bubble of favorability, I like to call it, sliding through parts of the main development region of the Atlantic that could help enhance one wave out there. If you're interested in learning more on that and then kind of separating some of the trash from the truth out there, join me at 9:30 tonight. I'm live every night, Monday through Friday at 9:30 on News 6 Plus and on the News 6 YouTube channel. We're, of course, going to break down the heat further and then talk about that little entity if you're interested. But again, nothing imminent. Want to be clear about that. Mid to upper 90s over the next few days. Rain chances do come surging back, Matt, by Tuesday.
Thank you, sir. After the break, the plea a Florida animal shelter is making after a dog was found abandoned on a highway. Take a break from those summer reruns. Try the all-new prime time schedule on News 6 Plus. Ginger and I have a new take on the day's news. That starts on News 6 tonight at 9 o'clock. Go in-depth as we track the tropics and answer your weather questions with meteorologist Jonathan Kagas at 9:30. 3 minutes is just not enough for that guy. Love it. Then watch the late news an hour earlier. It's all tonight on News 6 Plus. You can download our streaming app for free. Search WKMG in your smart TV's app store. It's also on Roku, Apple TV, and Fire. Well, correspondent Mary O'Connell has a message a Florida animal shelter has after a pooch was found in the cage on the side of a highway.
It was a shocking sight on I-275 in Tampa. Florida Highway Patrol said Wednesday morning, a driver spotted a small black dog in a cage on the shoulder of 275 North near Bierce Avenue on a day when temperatures soared.
He was under no shade and had no food or water with him.
The dog, now in the loving arms of staff at the Pet Resource Center in Hillsborough County. He's been named Neiman after the trooper who rescued him.
Come on.
Chelsea Waldeck is the division director at the Pet Resource Center.
Oh, good boy. We did scan him for a microchip when he got here, to which he does not have one. He absolutely is adorable. He's a very sweet little guy, and we just can't quite understand why somebody would do this to him.
This incident shares similarities with another case last year.
It's okay. It's okay.
Trooper's Law was inspired by a dog found tied up and abandoned on I-75 in October, while evacuations were taking place to prepare for Hurricane Milton.
And what it does is it causes harsher penalties for anyone who abandons a pet during a declared disaster. So we are not under a declared disaster right now, but Neiman's case would fall under animal cruelty for being left in the conditions that he was in.
Animal advocates want people to know there are options to help support people going through tough times or considering surrendering their pet.
Maybe we can help you rehome it. We can look for other options, or maybe we can provide you some resources to help you get back on your feet to be able to keep your pet in your family.
As for this pup, Waldeck says if Neiman's owner doesn't come forward to claim him, he'll become adoptable by end of day Friday.
He's extremely resilient. He's very happy to be around people and get the love and attention that he definitely deserves.
I'm Ginger Gadsden. Next at 6, it is video you need to see to believe. Destruction in Claremont. Take a look at the damage done to one home. Our News 6's Catherine Silver spoke with someone who says he saw exactly what happened. A woman already in handcuffs is thrown to the floor by an officer. We'll tell you what happened when he appeared in court today. Plus,
so I'm pleased to report that those flights out of Alligator Alcatraz by DHS have begun.
The governor says deportation flights from Alligator Alcatraz are underway. The response from both sides of the political aisle. And damage done. A vandalism investigation is underway after chunks were ripped from a home. The piece of equipment investigators say did all of this damage. This is News 6 at 6. Destruction in Claremont. This video really tells the story. The Lake County Sheriff's Office says they were called out to the home this morning after someone destroyed it.
However, the investigation has popped up a lot of questions.
And adding to the confusion was a message or maybe a warning from a woman to a man written in graffiti on the side of this house. News 6's Catherine Silver spoke with a man who says he saw what happened.
I was on the front side going down Pine Island Road all the way to Log House, and as I got here, they were just still scurrying around the trailer or whatnot, but like I said, I didn't pay no attention to it. So that's, I guess I'm the only eyewitness because they got out of here pretty quick.
An eyewitness account of what actually happened here at the corner of Pine Island and Monte Vista and Claremont.
I live a couple miles down the road, and as I was driving by, probably about 5:15, 5:20, I seen a truck out here and two individuals out here, and I didn't pay them no attention.
At that time, it's dark enough out here that this driver couldn't see what we can in the daylight, but he didn't miss this. Everyone thinks it was an excavator that did this, but that's not what you saw.
No, it definitely wasn't, because everybody thinks it's a track hoe excavator, but it was a lull with a long boom reach on it that they had out here doing that, and I think they kept it on the trailer too, because whenever I drove by, it was still on the trailer.
What do you think seeing it now?
It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad, especially what they did to that car.
Oh my God, someone was pissed.
It's been quite the sight for passerbys all day long. Clearly word is getting around town fast.
My phone is blowing up right now.
In fact, it was somebody driving by who called it in around 7 o'clock Friday morning.
It looks like it's been completely vandalized, like completely destroyed. Like somebody has smashed it to pieces.
Whoever did the damage ran into the front repeatedly, right into the master bedroom, what looks like a girl's room and boys' room. And they didn't stop there. The backside shows the same story. We asked deputies the same thing you're wondering. Who did this and why?
We do not have any information at this time. It is still currently an open investigation.
It could be the work of a vengeful vandal who left their mark and these messages behind. One scribbled on a cabinet door, another spray painted on the side of the home so everyone who drives by can see.
Hey, if you mess around, you get horned by the bull, you know.
We blurred a name and some profanity from those markings until we get more context from investigators. I did ask what criminal charges could come out of all of this. I was told they're looking at criminal mischief. That can be a felony in Florida if there's enough damage. In Claremont, I'm Catherine Silver, News 6.
So we're going to continue to follow this story very closely. Be among the first to get updates about it by downloading our News 6 app. It's free in your app store. Just search WKMG. Here's a live look now over Daytona Beach. Some of the hottest temperatures of the year happening this weekend. A heat advisory in place for most of Central Florida tomorrow. Meteorologist Jonathan Kegas with more on how long this heat is going to stick around.
Yeah, it's going to be like a 3-day thing where we're like getting up above what we a typical Central Florida afternoon for July standards, and that's what we had today. Of course, it was hot, but it was nothing out of the ordinary. Tomorrow it starts to go up a little bit. Then really Sunday and Monday are the two bigger days. 91 degrees in Titusville right now. It feels like 102. 86 in Kissimmee had some help from some nearby thunderstorms. The heat index of 102 in Wildwood. Actual air temperature is at 91. And again, heat advisory in play for most of Central Florida starting tomorrow. There's likely going to be one issued on Sunday and again on Monday, as it's expected to be even hotter both of those days. Tomorrow, expected to get to 97. It's going to feel like 105 to maybe up to 110 at times. And then Sunday and Monday, we're talking upper 90s with that feels like temperature, that heat index of 110-ish. Some places likely going to go over that by a degree or so. We're going to talk much more about that heat over the next 7 days, coming up at about 6:17.
Jonathan, thank you. All right, remember this shocking video? It's from Ormond Beach, where a former police officer in that department lost his job after assaulting a woman following an arrest. Tonight, that man appeared in court seeking mercy from a judge during a plea hearing. News 6's Jarrell Baker was in the courtroom when he gave his emotional testimony.
Jacob Hanna, the 32-year-old Ormond Beach police officer caught on video throwing a woman after she was arrested following a crash, is now apologizing for his actions during court hearing Friday.
Your Honor, I'd like to say I am sorry. I'd like to apologize to Ms. McCree, as I was in a position of power and should have never lost control.
Cannon took the stand announcing that he relinquished his police officer certification and also asked for more counseling and to continue mental health treatment and medication. During his time on the stand, he also said that he accepts whatever punishment is decided. However, he did share how his time behind bars and the case is impacting his family.
Any time away from them, including just this week alone, it would set me back at least a month, if not more. But being out of the home, at any additional time, we will lose our home. We will lose the things that we have, and it's not fair to her or my family.
Shauna McCree, the victim, also spoke out during the meeting about how the incident left her with a gash on her head, stitches, and trauma.
I have people ask me what happened all the time. Whenever I take pictures, it's visible. I see it like plain as day. I think about when my son gets married, pictures, it's just gonna be there, and it's just a constant reminder, and it's a disfigurement. I mean, I'll have it for the rest of my life.
Now, the judge says that she was presented with some new information that'll take some time for her to review, and it's why she's pushing the sentencing to next Tuesday. Here in Volusia County, Jarrell Baker, News 6.
Governor DeSantis says deportation flights have begun to leave Florida's Immigration Detention Center, also known as Alligator Alcatraz.
However, some politicians have issues with this. A Democratic roundtable voiced their concerns, especially when it comes to cost. News 6's Laverne McGee was in Orange County. She has those details.
I'd rather money was not spent on incarcerating people.
Bill Blackberry discussed his concerns at this immigration and budget roundtable held by local Democrats. He's lived in Orlando since 1977 and says he does not want his taxpayer dollars spent on Alligator Alcatraz.
You either have a right to be here or you don't. If you're in this country illegally, then you should be subject to expeditious deportation.
Governor DeSantis was at Alligator Alcatraz today, stressing its importance. He said 3 flights operated by the Department of Homeland Security have already taken off, and the first one had 100 detainees on board.
There's probably close to 800,000 illegal aliens that have already been ordered deported in this country. Florida, we have at least 50,000, 75,000.
Representative Ana Escamani says there's enough money, but it's not being allocated properly.
Anytime a politician tells you we can't afford something, I think you can just point to the Everglades and say, actually we can, you're just choosing not to. Because that $500 million could go to teacher pay, universal child care, housing affordability. We obviously have the money.
The state is spending about $450 million on Alligator Alcatraz, although Governor DeSantis says Florida will be reimbursed by the federal government.
We are all going to be affected.
Laverne McGee, News 6.
Tonight, a grand jury has indicted a Lake County couple for murder. Police say 10-year-old Xavier Williams died from, quote, unimaginable abuse. Kimberly Mills and her boyfriend, Andre Walker, were arrested in Tavares back in March after the two took Mills' son, Xavier, to the hospital. Law enforcement say the boy was covered in bruises, burn marks, and more. He later died from his injuries.
In Volusia County, investigators are trying to figure out what led to a woman being rushed to the hospital in critical condition. South Daytona police officers were called to the Red Carpet Inn on South Ridgewood Avenue this morning. The caller said his fiancée, a 70-year-old woman, walked into the hotel room and collapsed in a pool of blood. She was taken to the hospital in critical condition. We're told detectives are investigating this as a battery. They have identified a person of interest, and officials are stressing there's no danger to the public.
A Lake County man will spend the next 15 years behind bars. Brett Baldwin was sentenced to 15 years in federal prison today. A judge found him guilty of possession and receiving child sexual abuse material in April. Baldwin was indicted in December of 2023 after investigators found thousands of files of child sexual abuse material on his phones, the 2 phones he owned, during a separate investigation in late November of that year. That investigation was the disappearance of his own wife, Nicole Baldwin. The mother of 3 was last seen by her daughter at her Mount Dora home earlier in November of 2023. She disappeared without a trace, leaving behind a number of personal belongings, including her phone, purse, and even her shoes. About a month ago, Volusia County investigators in Deltona drained a retention pond in the north side of Lake Monroe. All they would tell us at the time was it was part of a Mount Dora criminal investigation. We asked Mount Dora police if it had anything to do with Baldwin's disappearance. They said they would not say anything more than it's an ongoing investigation.
Well, the countdown is on for NASA's next crewed mission, the Crew 11. However, before they take off, Crew 10 has to come back to Earth. NASA and SpaceX are now targeting July 31st for the launch of Crew 11. The team headed to the International Space Station will take the longest route yet to dock with the station. It's about 39 hours. Veteran astronaut Mike Fink is flying for the 4th time alongside 3 crew members on their first ever mission. Earlier today, members of Crew 10, who are returning in early August, talked about the things they love the most.
You know, I think for me, nighttime photography has really become one of my favorite things to do up here. I've been absolutely blown away by the auroras that we see up here. There's so many different colors that you get to see from space that we don't necessarily see on the ground.
I bet that is so cool. The upcoming Crew 11 will mark 25 straight years of humans living and working in space, which officials say is a major milestone in the run-up to trying to get back to the moon. Meantime, we're less than 24 hours away from the next launch from the Space Coast. SpaceX will be sending another batch of Starlink internet satellites. The liftoff window opens at 4:28 a.m. We have a lot more news, sports, and weather still to come.
Yeah, fire outside Central Florida's newest theme park. What we know about the buses that went up in flames. And bear hunting in Florida could soon become legal again. An update from wildlife officials 1 month before a pivotal vote.
And take a break from those summer reruns. Try out the all-new primetime schedule on News 6 Plus. Ginger and I have a new take on the day's news on News 6 tonight. That's at 9. After that, go in depth as we track the tropics and answer your weather questions with meteorologist Jonathan Kegas at 9:30. Then you can watch the late news at 10. It's all tonight on News 6 Plus. Download our streaming app for free. Search WKMG in your smart TV's app store. It's also available on Roku, Apple, and Fire.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Advent Health, helping the communities we serve to feel whole.
A lot of traffic in and out of a Universal lot today. Most of it from fire trucks, though, as crews work to put out a fire at the Universal Bus Depot.
Your Orlando community correspondent Mike Valenti is live in Orange County with more on that.
We're right outside Epic Universe, and we're told that the two buses involved here, way back there in the lot behind me, the ones that are now charged versions of themselves, we're told they're electric buses and run on lithium batteries. That's according to Orange County Fire Rescue. The spokesperson there tells us crews responded to reports of a fully involved bus fire. You can clearly see the flames here in this video shared with us from a viewer. Crews were able to put the fire out and no one was hurt. You may remember hearing about Universal introducing a fleet of electric buses as part of the many new elements associated with Epic Universe. It's not clear how this fire started or what caused it. A statement from Universal did not include any details about a potential cause, just that they're grateful to the Orange County Fire Department for their swift response, and it noted that safety is Universal's top priority. I'm your Orlando community correspondent in Orange County, Mike Valenti, News 6.
We are just about 1 month away until state wildlife officials vote on approving rules for a 3-week bear hunt.
That proposed hunt would happen in December with a more structured format than a hunt held a decade ago. These include a lottery-style permitting process and up to 187 bears being killed in 4 areas of the state. The rules also would include guidelines to encourage hunters to kill male bears. The commission's chief conservation officer says the proposed hunt is an additional method to try to manage bears as they coexist with humans.
We're one of the only states that is not participating in regulated bear hunting in states that have abundant bear populations. And so it's another tool for wildlife managers to be able to slowly start to manage population growth.
The 2015 hunt ended after just 2 days when 305 bears were killed in what was expected to be a week-long endeavor. Opponents say killing bears for sport won't reduce human-bear interactions. They also say the commission should expand the use of non-lethal options like bear-proof trash cans.
All right, turning now to our forecast. The heat is here this weekend. Could be one of the hottest of the year. Heat advisories already in place for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay, so last weekend I felt like I was in a sauna with a heat lamp on my back. What might it feel like this weekend?
What gets hotter than that? A sauna with a heat lamp, maybe
felt pretty
2
bad.
heat lamps?
Surface of the sun? I don't know.
It's got to be hotter than last weekend, though,
No,
right?
You've seen the memes that have like the sun and then like Florida ejecting out of Earth and in between Earth and the sun. Yeah, I mean, that's basically where we're at, guys. We are pinpointing a couple of storms. I've been watching these cells of the collision of the sea breeze for you guys in Sumter County around Nobleton, Coleman, Lake Panasoffkee tonight. And there they go. Again, there's a ton of dry air moving into central Florida. That's going to keep storm chances low over the next couple of days. But the storms erupting here as the sea breeze is coming together closer to I-75. You can track these storms right alongside me tonight by downloading that free News 6 weather app. And again, these storms are going to meander, give or take, right around I-75. So we are nice and dry at Palm Coast, in Nemico, Titusville, Rockledge, Satellite Beach, and Oak Hill tonight. And that's how we're likely going to stay for the entirety of the weekend as well. Future Radar doing a nice job showing that expansion of the storms through the evening. Again, pretty much hanging out right along I-75. So if you do have plans to go dinner tonight, don't get caught off guard again in parts of Sumter and Marion counties, especially where those storms are expected. Again, most of us are dry except for us along I-75. Tomorrow, everybody gets off to a dry start, and then we'll bubble up a few stray thunderstorms late into the afternoon. There was 3 to 8 o'clock. Few hanging around. Rain and storm chances tomorrow only at 20%, and it's going to be that way for the entirety of the weekend. Again, along the coast, that's what we're going to see, beautifully blue skies. It's a live look with our Launch Credit Union camera, Port Canaveral, Brevard County. We're back to the low 90s. The breeze helping a little bit as it's off of the Atlantic tonight at about 10 to 15 miles an hour. 88 right now in Orlando. We are at 91 degrees in the Villages. It feels like 100 out there. We'll watch for things to cool down a little bit with the help of those storms. Now here's a look at tomorrow.
Sponsored by Strata Air Conditioning and Heating. AC emergency, you ought to call Strata.
Everybody starts off dry and sunny with temperatures into the mid to upper 70s to get you out the door. If you're sleeping in, you're going to miss the cool weather, relatively speaking, as the sun comes up and gets us back to the mid to upper 90s. Rain chances at about 20% tomorrow, as I showed you, and that's mainly along and west of I-4. All because of this guy here, this big ridge of high pressure at about 15,000 feet above your head. It's causing air to sink. When air sinks, it warms up and dries out, and it is going to be the dominating weather feature over the southeast corner of the United States for the next several days. Might lose its grip on Florida for a little bit as it heads towards St. Louis, back towards the nation's heartland. But still, it's back to our regularly scheduled heat that we typically have this time of the year. Heat risk tomorrow, everybody in red into that major category. And watch what happens on Sunday. It expands further. We'll get these blotches of purples, and that's Ginger's comparison to the sun up the heat lamp. That's kind of what we were feeling like last weekend. And again, that'll expand a little bit. Tropics in the short term looking pretty good. Nothing imminent out there. 20% chop for those storms over the weekend. That'll go up a little bit next weekend to help to, I mean, I guess cool us down. 95 is better than 98, right? I mean,
really,
what are we supposed to say?
Guys, I'm waiting to get to October and just
we need
to do something.
Need a time machine here. Sports director Jamie Say is with us. Lake Mary Little League is bound for the World Series.
Yeah, the girls softball team just got it done. They secure a trip to the biggest tournament of the summer. Lake Mary played in the Southeast Regional Championship today and dominated. The highlights and why Lake Mary should be a World Series favorite next.
Some breaking news just into our newsroom. We're learning a missing persons case out of Lake County is now being tied to that home we told you about that was destroyed by heavy machinery in Claremont. Been telling you about this crazy story all day. Well, now the Lake County Sheriff's Office says they need help finding 45-year-old Nicole Griner. Deputies say she was last seen yesterday with her boyfriend pictured here. His name is Nicholas DeWitt. Investigators say they were in an olive green pickup truck, but it's unclear if they're still in it. You're asked to contact the Lake County Sheriff's Office if you know anything.
All right, and now for sports, guys. We're talking girl power. Serious girl power. Today, the Lake Mary Little League All-Star softball team punched their ticket to the World Series. Now, they didn't just win the Southeast region. They really crushed it, outscoring their opponents 26-3. This morning, Lake Mary faced a team from McLean, Virginia in the regional championship. Lake Mary's Addison Bono sets the tone from the get-go, drills one over the fence in Warner Robins, Georgia. A 2-run home run, and it's 2-zip Lake Mary in the first inning. They were far from done. Acadia Graney showing power the opposite way. That ball drops, and it rolls. 2 more Lake Mary runs score. Graney with a 2 RBI triple. Lake Mary led 5-0 after 1 inning.
Sends that to right field, and now Holton will definitely score. They'll bring in the other runner.
And Lake Mary is just running away with it. Bianca Vandenberg with a 2 RBI single in the 6th. Here's your final out. The grounder to first base, and Lake Mary can celebrate. They beat Virginia 8-1 to win the Southeast Regional for the first time ever. Lake Mary is going to head to the Little League Softball World Series in Greenville, North Carolina for the first time. The tournament is August 3rd through the 10th. Lake Mary is one of 12 teams that's going to compete. They open up against the Northwest Regional champ on August 3rd. Well, Lake Mary softball is strong on offense and defense, kind of like the most interesting player on the Jacksonville Jaguars roster. I'm talking about rookie Travis Hunter. The Heisman Trophy winner was a standout wideout and defensive back in college. At Jags training camp, Hunter spending time at both positions. Some days offense, some days defense, some days both. He's got a bigger workload than most rookies, studying 2 playbooks. He met with the media today. We'll hear from him tonight at 11.
All right, sounds good. Jamie Say, thank you. Join us for our next newscast. It starts at 11 p.m.
We break news on clickorlando.com. Stay cool out there, everybody. Bye.